Hello and welcome to the video. My name is Cam Ward and today we're going to be talking about this, the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro. If you've watched my other videos about Blackmagic, you'll know kind of why I haven't upgraded to this camera sooner. Full disclaimer, Blackmagic actually sent me this camera out to use. I had a few meetings with them recently and it's been very, very exciting. Working and speaking with them directly about things that I love about the cameras. And don't worry, I think I've aired a lot of the things that the community are asking for with these cameras. That being said, they've been awesome to work with, really, really cool people. I'm just really excited about cameras and just tech obviously in general. So they've sent me this Pocket 6K Pro camera because like I said to them I haven't used it. I've been on my Pocket 4K and I've kind of been reluctantly using it just to try and use it, you know? So just as a very quick aside, I wanted to jump in and talk about some context as to the projects I've used this camera on. I've used it on three very different projects actually. The North Coast 500, me and Esther traveled around Scotland. It was the first time I got the camera, so I was just testing it as we went. Then I used it as a B cam to the Red Komodo. Not necessarily a B cam, but I used it for all the stuff we were shooting socials for. So then I used it on the narrative project Diggers, which you'll see footage of in this video. And I've got to say, the reason I wanted to make this quick aside here, I really understood what this camera was and appreciated it a lot more when using it on a narrative project. I know it's in the name, cinema camera, but that's where this camera truly excels. It works amazingly for content and shooting stuff like that as well. But as a cinema camera, it was very, very handy and great to have. So yeah, anyway, that was just a quick aside. If you do enjoy this video, please be sure to hit like and subscribe, and back to the video. Which is why on this project recently, the short film Diggers, I kind of forced myself to use this camera only. They have also sent me out the Ursa 12K to test, so I'll be testing that through the next month or so. So yeah, very exciting, very grateful to be able to kind of play with all these things and just give them a go. Anyway, let's get into this. So recently I've been doing a lot of music video and commercial work, and the Music Bed Challenge came up and I thought, what a great opportunity just to kind of give a short film a go. It's been a little while. I'm going to show footage from the film in this video, so if you've not seen it, please be sure to go check it out in the link below. Let me know what you think of it. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's talk about the camera, the tools that did it. Let's talk about the pros first and then we'll get into the cons. First off, of course, 6K, super sharp image. I actually use this as well for a few photos. Not really a photo camera, but I recorded video and pulled stills. It's just interesting actually just using it as a stills camera, and some of the images look so sharp and clean. I love the color that comes from the Blackmagic cameras. Basically in terms of this camera specifically, the ND filters are amazing, really fantastic. We're shooting on the beach, it's open. I want to open up the lens a little bit more. All I have to do is tap a few buttons and there we go. I know they're in more cameras now, but the ease of use on these were amazing and it didn't feel like it shifted any colors or did any funky stuff inside the camera, so always good. The Pocket 4K with the battery grip makes it usable, and I would suggest the battery grip for this camera as well. Occasionally I put a battery in and it would immediately show it was dead, even though it was just fully charged, so I don't know what was going on there. The ISO on this camera is good, it's usable up to like 3200 ISO, not terrible, not amazing, it's okay. It's a cinema camera at the end of the day. The flip out screen is fantastic. What a game changer. It's so good to have it just out and about. And it's also bright enough in any situation. I've not found myself wanting it or needing it to be any brighter. It's very easy to read, and the Blackmagic software, as always with all their cameras, is so easy and intuitive to use. Would be awesome if this screen flipped out and did, you know, the reverse as well. So usually when I'm on a commercial shoot or something mid-range, so commercial shoot usually on like an Alexa, but for something mid-range, usually we've been going for the Komodo because it's small, lightweight, easy to rig up, and it's got the RF mount as well. And yeah, that's the camera we've been opting to go for. Also, just that perception of red still exists whether you like it or not. But that being said, we did shoot a lot of content stuff on the 6K Pro and on the Pocket 4K, and the clients do seem to love it. They love the colors out of it, the saturation, the contrast, the vibrancy, and that's what I really love out of these cameras as well. So when someone tells you about, is it the right tool for the job, that's really up to you if it can deliver on a technical aspect, but at the same time, it needs to come down to creative as well. As long as the tool works for you in your workflow and you like the look of it, the look of it is so important. It's all good looking at technical charts. If you just like the creative, actual physical feel and look of a camera, the image it produces, then that's okay. Things that I love about this camera versus the Komodo, you can just turn it on. You can turn it on and you can go. There's no need to black shade. There's no faffing about waiting for stuff. Let's get on some cons, some things I don't like about this camera. So on my notes, I actually have down the mandatory Gen 5 color science is a downside of this camera, because the Pocket 4K records in Gen 4 if you don't update it to the latest firmware. And I've kind of gone on about how much I love Gen 4 color science. I think I'm ready to admit that Gen 5 is just as good, if not better. I actually think that the slightly lower contrast from the Gen 5 gives it a little bit more of that Alexa feel. I feel like I'm eating my own words just admitting that I actually think I prefer Gen 5 now. It just is what it is. Preference, I guess, changes over time, and it does look very good out of this camera, the Gen 5 science. So yeah, that's just what it is. Which does bring me onto this little cage, actually. This is a small rig one from Amazon. I just got it from. I'm not sponsored in any way or anything by them. The thing that got it for me was this little SSD slot at the bottom. And for this camera, you're gonna need an SSD because the file sizes are massive and it's just cheaper than using the CFast cards. Anyway, you've got your SSD mounted in there. You've got a little Allen key slot down there, which is magnetic, which I thought was a really cool little handy feature to have. Hot shoe mounts, all that good stuff. This cage completes this camera, in my opinion. The only other issue is you can't attach a battery grip whilst you've got this cage on. As far as I know, there's no autofocus in this camera. I'm not too fussed. I've never really used autofocus. I've never really gotten used to having it. EF mount, I think it needs to go. I think it needs to change to RF. You'd even put a speed booster on and make it full frame, which is very exciting. And it's the thing that I kind of hate the most about this camera is this EF mount at this point. Just adaptability and flexibility is always good with cameras. Which I guess also brings me on to the smaller FOV, the crop factor on this camera versus the Pocket 4K. Again, just one of those things where it's nice to have a full frame camera when you've gotten used to full frame. Like I've recommended to other people, pick up a Pocket 4K and a speed booster and just give it a go. Just test it out for, a couple weeks and you can always sell it afterwards. Oh, little bonus note. You might notice in the short film that there's a few shots which have some kind of crazy swirly bokeh. I was using this lens. It was a little lens baby lens. So I was looking for Petzval lenses. I think I butchered that, I don't know. I was looking for those kind of artsy, swirly bokeh type lenses, similar to the Helios. Yeah, and I stumbled across this little thing. I actually thought it was gonna be like a really cheap, tacky little product. I was so wrong. This thing's really it's a really cool little, you can hear the sound in there. It is a really cool little lens. I might do another video on this in the future, but yeah, fun lens to have. And it was pretty cheap as well, so always a bonus. So yeah, that pretty much brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.